So what is the reservation point and the zone of potential agreement in a negotiation? Okay, well, let's start with the reservation point. Well, before going into a negotiation, it's advisable to plan out your approach, your strategy, what you're going to do, and establish some certain things that in this lecture series we call framing up the negotiation. So to start with, establishing your reservation point as the point at which you say, I'm going to throw my hands in the air and we're done negotiating. We're not going to negotiate anymore. I'm walking away. I'm going to pursue whatever my best alternative, my BATNA, in the negotiation is. And for more on what is a BATNA, or best alternative to a negotiated agreement, see our video to explain that concept. But basically, it is the reservation point here is where you're willing to walk away and say, okay, I'll choose my best alternative, my BATNA. Okay. Now, the reason it's important to set your reservation point is because oftentimes we go into a negotiation, we're not on firm ground, we do not have an idea at which point we're willing to walk away. We are more prone to make emotional or irrational decisions based upon the actions of the other party. Okay, but if we've planned well, we've set our reservation point, we've set other things such as a aspiration point and those types of things, it is more likely that we will make well-informed, good judgment decisions during the negotiation process, and we won't be taken by the moment or by the tactics employed by the other side. Okay, now for the concept of the zone of potential agreement, the ZOPA, as we tend to call it, the acronym. The zone of potential agreement is any area in between the reservation points of both parties. So say we're negotiating on price, and the most I'm willing to pay is $10. The least you are willing to accept is $8. So if I offer anything less than $8, that's not going to work. You would rather walk away and not sell the item. If you were going to charge me anything more than $10, I would walk away. It's not worth it to me to pay more than $10 for the item. So our zone of potential agreement there is anything in a price between $8 and $10. That's the points at which we could agree. Now, anything within that zone of potential agreement means you have the opportunity to arrive at a negotiated agreement. And that's a successful negotiation, to arrive at a negotiated agreement, because anything that is within the zone of potential agreement is a win for both parties. Now, it may be that one party grabs more value in the negotiation than the other, right? If I only pay $8, but I was willing to pay $10, then I grabbed more value in the negotiation than you did. But just because I grab more value does not mean it's not a successful negotiation. Okay, to say that you should grab more or just as much as the other side, that's a competitive disposition. And in other videos, we talk about orientation or disposition towards the negotiation. But the primary thing to remember here is that, one, planning is important. Setting things like the reservation point will allow you to establish a zone of potential agreement for the negotiation. If there is no crossing between the reservation points, the least you are willing to pay is accept is 10, and the most I'm willing to pay is 8. There is no zone of potential agreement. There's no chance of arriving at an agreement in the negotiation because both sides would walk away. Okay, so anyway, those are illustrations of the point at hand. Hopefully that helps.